Hello, hello. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. My name is Terria. I teach new providers how to start a licensed adult day program serving adults with intellectual disabilities. Today, I want to talk about your dream of starting an adult day program and you not accomplishing or working on that dream. What is holding you back? Let's have a conversation. I speak to, new providers or aspiring providers, I should say, on a daily basis. They talk about they always had a dream of starting an adult day program, but they just haven't got started. They've been held up by different obstacles that's gotten in their way. And more so, I'm going to be honest. More so, it's fear. It's the fear of not knowing. It's the fear of failing that's holding them back from even getting started. So, it's either money, financial situations that's fearful for them. Location situations become fearful for them. Developing policy and procedures are fearful for them. But if you don't get started, you'll never know if it's something that you can accomplish. Anything worth having, anything worth starting is going to, be difficult. It's not going to come easy to you. If it came easy to you, the challenge and the worth is not as high as it would be if you had to work towards it. Okay. So let's talk about it. Having these conversations, people having this fear, but on the flip side, I ask, some of the aspiring providers that I speak to, have you gotten the application? The answer to my surprise is no. So, how do you know this is something that you're not able to accomplish if you haven't even taken a look at the application? First step is request the application, receive that application, review that application. How do you know it's something that you can't do? Or how do you know the parts that you can do and maybe the parts that you need assistance with if you don't even look at the application? So, first things first, please, I don't want to speak to any more aspiring providers about not starting your adult day program, but having a dream of starting your adult day program. If you haven't even laid eyes on the application, that is for starters. Okay, let's get into the money part of it. Yes, starting a licensed facility based adult day program is pretty costly, but it's not millionaire, billionaire startup funding that's required. That's the perception that people have. You need to have millions and billions of dollars to start this adult day program. It is doable, it is possible, it requires some work. And if you've been following me and watching my YouTube videos, you already know I know that it requires work to start a licensed facility-based adult day program. It is not an easy process. It does require work. But you have to do your work. You have to do your research. The money that is required is not the impossible for the everyday working person to come up with. It requires you to come up with a strategy. It requires you to come up, maybe speaking to some people, getting some documents together, applying for different things. But it is not impossible. Like I said, it's not millionaire, billionaire type of money that you got to come up with. So that is definitely a misconception in keeping people back from accomplishing their dream of starting an adult day program. Number two, let's talk about these policy and procedures. People are so fearful of policy and procedures, not being able to develop policy and procedures, and it seeming like some daunting task that is the impossible. It is not impossible. It is definitely possible. Let me give you a little inside tip about developing policy and procedures. Policy and procedures are a mirror of your state policies, your state standards. So if you request a copy of your state standards of adult day programming, they have their own standards of what every adult day program is required to have. Mirror your policy and procedures off of their standards. You don't have to come up with a brand new policy. It's mirroring your state standards. So that's an inside trick that I just gave you for free. So it's definitely doable. Yeah, you have to write it out. You have to, make sure you have everything documented out, but you just research your state standards. add things that you want to apply to your agency that you want to add in on top of those state standards. If there's additional things you feel like your agency will stand out from the rest that you want to add into your policy and procedure, but you already have a starting point. Even if you wanted to just go off of that starting point, that is perfectly okay. They're not asking you to invent the wheel. Every adult day program has to go by these standards, have to have very similar policy and procedures. Yeah, they may vary or differ a little, but there's a starting point. There's already a blueprint. Okay, lastly, location. Location keeps people back from starting their facility-based adult day program. The real estate market is not, there's not a bulk of inventory available, I hear. The rent is so high, the cams are so high. My feedback that I have for you on location is do your research. Yeah, you're not going to find a location on your first try, your perfect location. You're going to have to get a realtor preferably that has some experience in commercial real estate, not somebody that's experienced with residential. So you want to get a commercial realtor, and you got to look through places. I mean, you gotta go out looking at places, touring places, and seeing what is the best fit for you. Also, just because a price tag, a base rent says you have to pay this amount, doesn't mean you can't negotiate. A lot of people have this perception of just because it says it's 8,000 a month, 9,000 a month, 10,000 a month, that is what you have to pay. No, that is not what you have to pay. I did a video a couple of weeks ago or a week ago about negotiating your base terms, negotiating your CAM terms, negotiating your rent. It's so important that you don't just accept the base price that they tell you, that you go in with negotiating, especially if you're planning on having an extended lease, a 5-year lease, a 6-year lease, a 7-year lease. There is a lot of room for negotiation when you have a lease of that term. So don't feel like because this property says it's $8,000 a month and the cams are an additional $1,000 a month, that is not in my price range. I need to look for something else. If it's close to your price range, I'm not saying if it's like a $5,000 difference, okay, that is not anywhere close to where you can negotiate. But if it's like $1,000, $1,500, difference in your price range, go in and negotiate. Here's another little free trick I'm gonna put you guys onto. So if you want to start out your base rent to $8,000 property base rent. You want to start out at 7,000 1 year, 75 1 year, 7,500 1 year, 8,000 the next year. And you slowly but surely, year by year, get to that base rent that they're offering. You definitely go there, because then that gives you time as a new provider to build on your participants and to get to the point where that base rent is doable. So start out low. Year one, start out it being maybe a $2,000 difference in the base rent, or $1,000, $1,500 difference, or $1,000 difference initially, and then year two add on 500, year three add on 500, get creative with the numbers. Do some work. Do some work, do some research. It's not going to be easy, but get creative, think outside the box. Just don't give up on your dreams because it seems like it's the impossible. If you start digging, if you start looking and researching, you'll figure out it is not impossible. It is doable. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. I hope this gave some people a kick in the butt, a jump start to start at step one. Accomplishing your dream of starting a licensed facility-based adult day program is not impossible. And if you need help, there is support out there. Me. There's support out there that can help you through the process. I help people every day, a step by step proven strategy of how to start your licensed facility based adult program. So if you're somebody that needs help, or if you know somebody that needs help, I will attach a link below. Reach out to me so we can see if you're a good fit for my program. Apply. Don't just do nothing. Do something. Do something. Okay? Well, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.